Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody? Playoff Sunday, finally. And we're going to talk about how do you win at gambling? Sports betting, stocks, gold, everything. Just a second. Hey, Pat, how have you been? Missed you a few days. Glad you're hopefully okay. So we talk everything as usual. Hope everything's good in Singapore, Pat. Greg John, hello. Big gains, yeah. Pat, gold near all-time high in gold futures, 2806. China has broken COMEX. Well, the way COMEX gets broke is when they run out of supply. They cannot do derivatives without having gold. You have to have some gold, 4%. And it's just about drained. Now, I heard we were watching Alligator. He made this stupid comment about China wants to keep the silver price low. And I'm like, no. They want, if you have silver and they have tons and tons and you have gold, look at us. We have gold and silver. We want the price to go up. We don't want it to go down. We don't want to accumulate more, even though it's not bad. But at this point, we've accumulated a lot. We want higher prices. So when there'll be two things that happen. When there's no more gold in COMEX, they're done, or silver. And when there's competition like the Shanghai and the Russian gold markets where they're trying to do physical gold, that will end it. So it's very close to ending. It's hard to listen to these guys, Andy Scheckman and all these other guys, except for Egon and Mark McGuire. They just don't have a clue. They keep saying, oh, look at the demand is high. And everybody's short silver. They want silver. Not that they're shorting it. They just need it. So the price will go up because the demand's there. And I go, and that's the farthest thing from the truth because it's not based on the physical market. It's based on the derivatives. I don't think London has anything left. And I don't think I know the U.S. has no gold. At least not what's owned by the U.S. Might be owned by China in Fort Knox, but not by the U.S. I was watching this show yesterday with some lady from Hillsdale College, which is a very conservative Adam Smith type of college, and she was talking about CBDCs and the economy's fine, and I almost threw up. I'm like, what is this Keynesian doing on this channel as a guest? And she's talking how they want to control you on CBDCs, and you're like, you don't have to go on it. They can't force you on the CBDCs. It's not real money, so it won't last anyway. And I just hate when the Keynesians try to they'll control you. You can go out, but you won't be able to use your money. And it's like, it's not their money to stop it. It's our money. And if I go to work and I get money, I can spend it any way I want. You can't control that. The other thing is they'll never get rid of money. They'll never go 100% digital because the mafia and all the drug dealers are gonna take cash for it. You think they're gonna let this digital thing in and then they won't be able to sell all their drugs because then all the transactions would be marked? Selling, buying heroin or cocaine from Joe the dealer. Yeah, I don't think so. They're not going to allow that. This is so stupid. People can't critically think. It just blows my mind. I spoke to a bullion dealer and they are running out of inventory. Well, what do you mean by a bullion dealer? Do you mean a bullion bank like JP Morgan, or do you mean a guy's store? The guy's store could run out of inventory. The bullion bank, yeah, I mean, that's a different story. Um, but that's how I see it. It's limited anyway, but see, you can't really track it. When these guys like Egon say, well, it hasn't really started yet, they have no idea because nobody can know when I buy it and you buy it, Luke buys it, it doesn't register anywhere, especially if we pay cash. Some kid came in and bought 5 ounces. Okay, well, it doesn't register. It doesn't make the price go up or down. That's just what happens. So I'm just curious on the bullion dealer. But see, once it runs out of inventory, it's like Luke's brother. He sells football tickets secondhand. So he buys them from the team and then he sells them to the secondary market for a markup. And that's what's going to happen with gold and silver. We bought it, and now the source to buy it from doesn't have any. So now you got to go to the secondary market, and that's where it's really going to fly. So I think we're going to see it soon. Again, it's not an opinion. It's just at what point, and we don't know. And the bullion banks are fighting to keep the derivatives alive because they're shorting the. What kind of idiots short gold in the middle of bricks trying to buy it all so you have huge demand? What kind of idiot would short something where the demand is on the other side? I mean, these bankers are so stupid. They get what they deserve. Anyway, so I mean, it's just it's almost over. The wait for Luke and you and Bobby. And when's it going to see? We never ask, will it go? We only ask, when's it going to go? Right? We know it's done. It's going to go to the moon. We understand why. There's nothing Trump can do. I heard he kicked Elon Musk out of the White House because he's not elected, and the people that are his cabinet don't want him there because they don't know if Trump's listening to Musk. And I never liked that Musk. I don't like Musk anyway. I think he's an idiot. I find he does a lot of malinvestments like electric cars. Nobody wants him. It's a government thing. So he takes government handouts and then says, look how rich I am. Why the government's giving him, I don't know. And then his electric company, his electric cars are in China. He doesn't make them here. So I never liked him anyway. I thought it was really weird that he'd be in the White House. And it looks like he's telling Trump what to do, which is not why we voted for Trump. And I think he did get kicked out of the White House to a secondary residence. I think Trump will get tired of him. He won't be able to do any government. Like Trump knows he's got to cut government because he knows he's got to get rid of the deficit, and then here's the debt. And he knows this, but he can't do anything about it. You can't. The government. What are you going to do? I mean, I would get rid of the Department of Education in 5 seconds. You're fired. Let's cut this department out. We don't need it. It's just communistic and it's a waste of time. However, that's me. Again, I don't know what's all the politics, and I don't want to know. I try to stay out of crap like that. Greg and Jen, the Raiders are interested in Russell Wilson. Yeah, well, he played with Coach Pete, so that would make sense. I think he's fine. I don't think he's not the reason Pittsburgh lost. They lost because they have the worst offensive coordinator I've ever seen. Their defense wasn't that good, and they had no running attack. So it was all Russell Wilson. And then, and don't misunderstand, his contract's cheap because Denver's paying for it. But I think Coach Pete played with Russell Wilson. He was his coach for the Super Bowl, so he knows how to communicate with him. He knows what he likes, and I think that would be a very strong move for Oakland. They'd be competing because you still have Crosby and you have Brock Bowers, and you just need a running back because you got rid of Jacobs, although you got the guy from UTSA, and then you need some defensive help. But they got early picks. So if they got Russell Wilson, they could take one, and they'd be right there with Crosby, defensive end. Look out. It'd be tough. Just going to make it. They're not going to do anything. He'll be there 2 years and fired. He won't win any games because he doesn't sound like a winner. What do you mean by that, Howard? Well, he doesn't answer direct questions that are easy questions. He's not going to be able to help Caleb. Again, Caleb's terrible, so he's not going to help him. Once he realizes how bad Caleb is, there goes his offense. Which, how good is he anyway? He had a very good offense, good line, good receivers, good running backs with Detroit. He just didn't have a good quarterback. And that's what happens. But, yeah, the Raiders, Coach Pete was the right hire. I couldn't believe Seattle let him go. And he's so much better than the Seattle coach now. Seattle made a huge mistake. You keep hiring these coordinators, but they're not coaches. So it just, you laugh at it. Back to Pat and the gold. You can see it's making its move. I think they're going to put pressure on the U.S. to belly up to the bar. They have all these derivatives that are unpaid, that they're supposed to physically settle in one day, and they're not. And they have some old ones, and they have to settle. And I think when they do, they have to get the physical gold, which they'll get from the market at much higher prices. And that's where we hit 3,000. So they're holding on, but there's nothing they can do. And I love Trump being a bully, like, do this or else, do that or else. And, I believe he's the cowardly lion. I believe he's all roar and no bite. All bark and no bite. That's my view on Trump. Because if I was me and I was the president and I come in stoic, you don't hear me bark. You just hear me. You just see my bite. You don't hear my bark. I don't threaten you. It's like with Jenna. Jenna, we got along, and then in Barcelona, she left me for her friend, Natasha, and then, we're at the beach. Come on down. I could barely walk. My back was hurting. I says, I need you to help, and then I don't know where I'm going. So where the fuck are you? And she didn't come back, and I let her have it. And I said, you can't leave me like that. If you tell me you're going to come back at noon, you got to come back at noon. I'm not on vacation to sit in the hotel room. Even though my back's hurting, I want to get out. So she leaves early. And then so we meet now in Italy. And she starts peppering me with, it's not, my name's not Jenna, it's Gina, and it's not Positano, it's Positano. And she kept saying Howard. And I just was stoic about it. I just said, okay, you continually disrespect me with this bullshit. I never said a word. I just took it. When we got home, that was it. I never said a word either. And I just stopped contacting her. And she doesn't know what happened. And it's like, you disrespected me. That's not going to happen. And that's it. So that's how I would do it. I would just be very like, see what's that? And whoever disrespects me, they're gone. But I don't bark. I just bite. Let me get a napkin. Oh, sorry. And that's how you should do it. You don't see if you gotta yell at people, then you're really a coward because you don't have to yell them. If you just speak at people as adult, as the way you should talk to them, and if they don't do it, you just okay, goodbye. I don't need an explanation. I don't need this or that. If that's how people want to do it, fine, but it makes you look bad. Putin doesn't do it. He never yells at you. Putin's a very smart guy, I think. At least with Putin, you know where you stand with him. He didn't go into Poland and Romania and Hungary. He doesn't have any intention of doing that. He's just defending his border. He doesn't like that. They don't want Ukraine and NATO because really Ukraine's still part of Russia. That'd be like Alabama joining joining Mexico. Well, they're still part of the U.S. We don't want that. Pat, I think it's over. Nobody is going to deliver medals. I don't. What is it? Explain your sentence. You think it's over with COMEX? Nobody is going to deliver the medals. Well, nobody has the medals to deliver. The U.S. has no medals, so they can't deliver it. The only way they can deliver it is to go in the market and buy it. But we don't have any money. I mean, that's the one thing I look at Trump, and you realize that he's like, well, I can't. Trump's a businessman, so he goes, I can't afford I can't afford to keep paying Ukraine because we're broke. So he looks at the US as he would his company. What's our revenues? What's our expense? Oh shit, we're $36 trillion in debt. We're running a $3-4 trillion deficit each year. Well, wait a minute. That's not how you run a company. That's not how you run a government. That's not how you run anything. Right? If me and you got $2,000 in a month in income and we spent $3, we're fucked, right? But that's what a lot of people are doing because the grocery prices are going up and everything. So they use their credit card and they are spending more than they're making, and that's a big problem. When I just had Social Security, I would spend more than I made. Now that I'm working, I get to start paying down my credit card debt, and I have enough money to, first it's pay all my bills, fine, and then I have extra to pay credit card and buy gold and silver and things like that. Yeah, if they're not going to deliver metals, then it's all over because that's how COMEX was set up. COMEX was just simply a price setting mechanism, right? We're going to set the price of gold. We want to keep it cheap because if people come for gold, like the Germans or the French or the Italian, because we have all their gold from World War II, if they come for it, we don't want to have to pay them a lot. So we're going to keep the gold price down. And then it goes up to $800 in the late 1970s. And somehow it comes down to $200. What the fuck was that? How did that happen? Oh, yeah, because we started price fixing. And they hammered it with the derivatives, and it was not free market. So that's the first thing you got to know is how's the game played. So when I talk about how to win at investments, which includes gold and silver stocks, betting football, craps, any casino game, you got to understand the rules, and you got to know how to take advantage of them. We'll get to football in 2 minutes. The games does start till 3:30, I believe, or 3. So if nobody delivers the medals, then everybody, then it's all over. And then it goes to Russia and China, and then it becomes a free market price, which will be $10,000, $15,000 for gold because the demand is there. And if you have low supply and high demand, then you see a high price as long as it's not price fixed. And that's what we've been seeing. And that's why we keep shouting gold's way undervalued. Keep buying it as much as you can now because once this shit hits the fan, all of a sudden gold's a $10,000 an ounce item. So I go to my gold store, it's going to be 10 grand. And will he have any to buy? That's going to be the kicker. Silver, he'll still have some, but gold, it'll be gone. And that's why I don't mind the quarter ounces and tenth of an ounces. Just give me something. Let me accumulate. Greg and John, TK, I think 2 good games today. TK Bobby is rooting for his LSU team player, JD. Okay, so what does that have to do with anything? I have no idea, Greg and John. Those comments are just, you're wasting time with those comments. You don't really care about who Bobby's rooting for. That's up to Bobby. We're picking the games. That's it. And off you go. Yeah, there'll be good games. They're championship games. All right. So, that's the way the gold system's set up. It's derivatives. It was set up to price fix. However, that was 1971. And JP Morgan makes a lot of money playing the games. You do options and you win them all, then that's what happens, right? So that's the game they've been playing. They've been playing their own little game. It'd be like me doing an option and Pat buying it and then selling it, and then he does an option and I do the same. And we just go back and forth. There's no risk because he's going to buy it and I'm going to sell it and I'm going to sell it and he's going to buy it. And we'll just keep doing that and we'll keep making money. And then all of a sudden, other people are entering it, called the Russians and the Chinese, who are sitting there going, no, I want delivery. Well, wait a minute, that's not how the game's set up. No, it's just me and Pat. There's no Chinese and Russia to take delivery, and that's what's happening, and they've taken delivery. So you have to understand the game, and you have to understand the changes. Those are changes. People ask me, well, what's different? Why is gold going to go up? What's different? It's bricks. Because now they've fucked with the game. They've changed the game into taking delivery, which was never a thing. Nobody wanted it, so nobody took delivery. So JP Morgan in London just kept playing the game. We'll short it, and then you buy it, and then you buy it, and then you call it, and the price will go up, and then I sell it, and you sell it, and they would just sell between the price of gold was going down. I hope I'm not losing connection again. I don't know what it is. If it's my system or my internet, my connection's unstable. They're reconnecting me, but I know when I watch it, I'm still on. Well, they're really taking a while to reconnect me, but that's the point. It's you're looking at why if it's the dollar going down, the gold price should have been going up in the 2000. It never been 250 in 2008. It shouldn't have been 250 or 300. Why hasn't the gold price gone up when the dollar's been going down since 1971? That doesn't make any sense. Man, I don't know if I'm losing. Okay. All right. I'm back. So that's what I know. Please let me know. I'm John or Pat. Sometimes I get that message and then I'm talking for an hour